I'm Margaret. Okay, great, let's cut.
The man you are looking for, the U.S. ambassador to Rome, he will be the new father.
The first Omen is a prequel to the 1976 film, The Omen, but it's also a story that could stand on its own. We were really lucky to be able to shoot in Rome.
Usually you set a movie somewhere and then you go shoot it in a completely different place. You spend a lot of your energy trying to say, well, it needs to look like this and we have to make this look like that. And what are we gonna use to look like this iconic location? And to be here in Rome, which still has the same feel in some places that it had in the 1970s when the movie is set, we're incredibly lucky.
Yeah, please, thank you.
Rome is just like this giant, beautiful museum. You know, everywhere you look, it's gorgeous.
Every street that we pass, there's something to look at. I just want to explore.
It's also a perfect place to shoot a horror film or a psychological thriller.
Where's Carlita?
She's in the bedroom.
You walk into Rome and it's golden and beautiful and there's so much history and isn't it lovely? And then at night looks like putrescence.
As a production designer, my work is actually to create the world in which all the characters inhabit. I'm responsible for everything that they touch, see, eat. So it's a big job.
I wanted this feeling of something that is slowly starting to crawl under your skin and rot.
Of course, the locations were perfect, but then we started to add a lot more damp, aging, patina, just to make sure that you understood that there's a certain darkness rising from below.
Carlita, go to your room, okay?
The type of research I did for this film was kind of broad, choosing very carefully locations, looking at very many photographs of the time. So obviously there's a political undercurrent to this movie. So I made sure that I delved deep and read up and watched old footage of riots and the political struggles that were happening in the 70s. And that translated to posters and how we staged certain scenes.
We shot both practical sets and then also in studio, but one of my favorite sets Eve designed was the staff apartment and the bedroom that Margaret lives in with Luz. She designed it so that if you sat on Margaret's bed and you had all the doors open, you could see Luz's bed from across the apartment. So there's the ability for this other person to be staring at you and watching you as you sleep. And then you look up and there's this buttress that looks like this giant anvil that could just fall on you at any moment. So she thought of all these incredible ways to just put you a little on edge and to give you goosebumps, and you don't even really know why. She is such a huge partner in this process.
Please, Father.
Obviously, you have so many beautiful churches all over Rome, but we couldn't use any of them because of the subject matter. We looked further and further afield, but I think we found the most beautiful church. Tasha is very passionate about the details in every set.
Keep whispering.
I wanted to create certain shapes with candles that were important to Kasha. The hell mouth, as she called it, which we created with metal structures where the candles make a mouth.
The level of detail is so beautiful.
The orphanage is one of the biggest characters in its own way. It is the world that binds them all together. We were to use very beautiful locations that we would find in and around Rome, but we couldn't find everything within one building. It was quite a task to put 3 buildings together and make sure that they all linked.
Welcome to our family.
Oh, thank you.
Come with me.
Our costumes were designed by Paco Delgado.
The important thing about costumes is they help the actors to become the characters. Margaret, for example, we wanted to create an outfit that reflected the fact that she was a novice, but at the same time, she was out in the world.
Maggie, look at you.
But they look really, really severe, but at the same time, they have certain glamour and style.
There she is. Oh my God, you look hot.
Luz, it was also a very enjoyable character to do because she had this sort of like hidden life.
There's this moment where she's getting ready for the disco and she has this Rafaela Carrera wig on. She is fully transformed into this fun-loving disco lady when right before she was a religious zealot.
I know it's scary coming out from under the habit, but look at you.
One of the scary things about this orphanage is the nuns. Paco designed it so that when the nuns move down the hall, they swing like a pendulum, but then their veils are very light and flowing, so it's like these ghosts of death just walking around everywhere.
Kasia, from the very beginning, said that she wanted to have these sort of like figures, like almost floating on the alleyways. We tried to design the costumes. They look like really heavy, but in fact, they are really, really light materials that they move with the wind and they move when they're walking on the aisles.
Scusi, I should see what the trouble is.
We wanted to show a little bit that this orphanage was not really 70s. These little girls were dressed with clothes that they were like maybe made in the 40s or in the 50s.
Like everything in the orphanage, the girls' outfits, from afar, they look totally fine and totally clean, but you look closer and you realize, oh no, they don't take care of these kids. These are hand-me-downs and they're ripped and they're torn and they're dirty.
Dirty.
But all of the nun habits are pristine.
And the uniforms of the girls, they have a sort of like a sinister, soul-like feeling in a way.
The things we do aren't always pleasant, but they are in the name of God.
There's so many VFX in the movie. There's so many ways of approaching the storytelling. Kasia wants to do as much as possible practically. You're like, hell yeah, I can't wait to do this. Kathy, the co-owner of my shop, work hand in hand with Kasia.
Adrian and Kathy are dark wizards. They're scary good. In the birthing clinic, for example, blurring the lines between realism and surrealism and not knowing the difference, that's where a lot of the horror stems from. One of my favorite moments in the movie is when burnt, crispy, juicy, oozy Angelica comes out. Just came out looking truly magnificent.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
Like perfect amount of crisp, perfect amount of ooze, perfect amount of blood. And we wanted it to look like, even in the dark, you just see her smiling, which meant that her lips had to be burned away. So the Moreau team were able to make this piece to put in her mouth so that she was continuously smiling like this living skull. I loved it.
And action.
This group of people has been such an honor for me to be around. Kasia has made this experience incredible.
That's beautiful. And reset.
When I work on a movie like this with the most sincere and pleasant crew that I've worked with, and I walk on set every day with a big smile on my face.
Everybody was fearless, and nobody was afraid of the content.
Please.
We do take some big swings, and those swings don't work if somebody, even one person, isn't fully committed. But everybody was, and everybody was committed to each other and to the story. And I'm very grateful to that. I think you can feel it.
How do you control people who no longer believe in your stories of fire and brimstone? You create something to fear.